Okay, if you'd raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as members of the Board of Education of the Lakota Local School District, Butler County, Ohio, to the best of your ability, and in accordance with the laws now and in effect hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified?
I do.
I do.
Congratulations. Can somebody come down from tech, please?
Pass that over again. Give that to Adam.
Test, test, test.
Don't you grab me? Is there any other waters? You want water?
Sure. I'm good.
Test, test, test. Sorry about that.
There's those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I call the Lakota Board of Education meeting for January 8, 2024 to order. Mr. Zink, please call the roll.
Mr. D,
Yes.
Ms. Bodie, Ms. Casper,
Here.
Mr. Horton,
Here.
Ms. Schaefer.
Here.
I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second?
Mr. Zink, call the roll.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. D,
Yes.
Mr. Horton.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer, could you lead us on Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Schaefer. Okay, I call for election for officers for 2024 for the office of the president.
I'd like to nominate Mrs. Schaefer for the office of president.
Any second?
I'd like to second Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you. Mr. Zink, you call the roll.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. D,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Do you want to vote no there for a minute? So now I will take over for the administration of the meeting, and I would open the floor to nominations for vice president.
I'll nominate Kelly Casper.
Second.
Any discussion? Adam, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. D,
Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. All right, now we'll go through the musical chairs process and be right back.
Do we just keep our own computers? Do we move our computers?
Leave the computers, okay.
Let's take all my stuff. Yeah, just leave your computer, they'll fix them later. And I guess we could switch the names, I didn't think
So-
about that. I'll just switch the names.
But I wanted to be Kelly Casper.
No, you really don't.
Jacket there.
Yeah.
Is Doug's over here? Do we have a nameplate for Doug?
I took mine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now this is when we get to read a lot of motions individually, so I apologize in advance for having to go through that whole process. Adam, for number 6, can we do those all together, or do they need to be done individually?
Yes, you can do all of those together.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve number 6, A through F?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Adam, will you please call the roll?
Mr. D,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. We now have the appointment of the legislative liaison to serve as the delegate at the OSBA Capital Conference and appoint an alternative. They will also, yeah, we already went through that. Is there anyone who is interested in being the legislative liaison at OSBA?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Anybody else want to do that? Anybody want to be the alternate? I'll be the alternate if Doug wants to be the. Okay. So may I have a motion to appoint Doug Horton as the legislative liaison with Kelly Casper as the alternate? So moved. Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Adam, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mr. D,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. All right, now we're going to get to the point of appointing liaisons to various committees. I think we should also have discussions about these different committees. So, Mr. Zink, can we go ahead and have that discussion prior to a motion for any particular committee?
Yes.
Okay. So last year, we did a lot of committees with everyone serving on those committees. I would like to consider going back to more of a traditional practice where we have board representatives, as well as even potentially eliminating some of these committees and giving them back to the administration as how they would like to perform the work that has been done in these committees. So perhaps we can have a conversation on that. For example, policy started last year as 2 people and then ended up going to everyone. So are people comfortable with going back to having 2 representatives on the policy committee?
I think so. I think that makes sense to do that. Does it make sense for us to all sit on that committee?
Yeah, I agree. I think when all the board members are present, it fits better into working session meetings versus side committee meetings.
Okay.
I'm suggesting that we have one board member in the committees instead of 2, because it's going to be a lot of committees to.
Okay.
Because we have the superintendent and we have the treasurer in those committees. I mean, for me, it's going to be like redundant to have more than needed number of people in committees.
The challenge, the way we've done it in the past is, part of it is if there are 2 board members on a committee, then if the 2 board members don't agree on what something should be moving forward, then the administration knows that it needs to move to the entire board for further discussion. So I think sometimes my concern would be if we only had 1, then there wouldn't be any balance of different ideas or different perspectives going forward on some of that, where you'll have at least 2 people aligned when it's brought to the whole board for discussion. Any feedback from?
And there's also, I think, the part of if somebody can't make it, and then even if it's last minute and somebody else can't fill in, then you don't have any board member sitting on that committee. And since they're board committees, I feel like we should at least keep the 2 people on them, on ones that are board committees.
Yeah, I think having dual representation is important for flexibility as well as unforeseen instances of board members being able to attend. So I'm in favor of having at least two.
Okay.
I think we also need to check the board policy that was changed last year. I think we said, I can't remember the number that we put on it, but I think it was at least 2 to 5
2 to
was
5.
the
Yeah.
wording. So that would require a change of board policy.
Good catch. Okay, so for board policy committee, who, if we have two representatives, who would be interested in taking that on?
Something else that we did do is we left the schedule open so that once we establish who's on all of these committees, we can get that high-level view of the calendar to then see what accommodates for the committee instead of trying to get all that worked out in agenda setting.
Yeah,
And then
that's a-
once we have that, we'll put out the public notice for all of that for
Yep.
this year.
That's a good idea.
That makes sense.
I don't mind sitting on the policy committee if
All right.
no one else wants to.
Doug, is that something that would be of
Yeah,
interest to you?
I'd be happy to.
Okay. We'll just kind of pencil these in until we kind of go through all the committees and see where everyone is. Business Advisory Committee,
I want to be.
okay. So I would be happy to serve on that as well. I have some ideas with some of the ways Butler Tech does their Business Advisory Committee that I'm hoping we might be able to incorporate. And at Lakota, where it's just operated a bit differently than what we've done historically. So, and we can revisit that in our committee meeting. Community Engagement Committee,
I would enjoy being on that. I have some ideas on how we could greater expand our reach out or our outreach to the community.
okay.
I currently sit on that, and if you would like me to continue, I would be happy to.
All right, that would be, I think, good for some continuity, so. The Community Curriculum Advisory Team, this, to me, it's down here as a board committee, but it was really established out of nominations from different board members. My personal thought on this would be that we could give this back to the curriculum team and let them structure this however they would like to, if they would like a community input on curriculum, rather than have this be a board committee, and then just whomever can make a report to the board as that work is completed, since we're already getting more reports from curriculum. So,
If I may, I think that's a good idea. I understand historically that the committee was developed to research and make sure that there was no CRT being taught in classrooms and in the curriculum. And I think that through the work that this committee did, they found that that was true, that there was nothing that was CRT based, that we were using the Ohio State curriculum, which does not have that in there. And I think that I think we have platforms for if there's something controversial or concerning to community members or to parents, we do have that online platform that they can fill out. And then we investigate it and research it. We've only had 2 in the last 2 years that have been filled out. The one was actually a student project, and the other one was about the app review process and a piece of software and the process that we were going through. And we've worked with that parent. You've seen the emails back and forth as well. So those two, that platform in and of itself is a pretty solid platform that's not found in most school districts. Typically, someone will come to a board meeting and present their concerns as opposed to having the opportunity for an investigation to occur and response back before they actually come, forward to the board.
Sure.
It's resolved before they need to come.
Yep.
In other words, so I would agree with that. I think that the curriculum advisory team may not even need to be a regular type thing. Maybe it's if a new curriculum is being developed by the state of Ohio, we want to get some input from people. We pull together a group, community members and staff, parents, have them respond, and we respond to the state en masse, because the curriculum is from the Ohio Department of Ed, and it isn't changing
Sure.
at this point in time.
Absolutely. Okay. I am of a different opinion because I believe that this committee was formed because there was an outcry in the community concerning the curriculum, and got to a point that there were a lot of back and forth. So to ensure is one of the things I ran for as well when I was running for school board, is make sure that we have the right things in our classes. To a point, some board members felt like they want to go to the class to see what the teachers are teaching, which is not necessary. But the committee was formed to ensure that the community have a voice in it. They meet once in a quarter, am I right?
Yes, they do meet once a quarter.
Okay, so my opinion is I don't see anything wrong with keeping them the way they are because they were nominated for 2 years. If after 2 years you don't want to get them back or you want to change the formation, I'll be satisfied with it. But I still want to see this committee still remain the way it is because the community feel comfortable that there's voice from the community in the curriculum of the district. So that's my opinion.
If I may respond, we have the thought exchange that went out to the community for the month of August, and that feedback was shared by the curriculum team to this group. There really wasn't anything on there that was glaringly found to be wrong by the broader community. I think that right now the agendas that are being created for this, for this next quarterly meeting, it's not really about curriculum, it's about teaching the committee about what we do in curriculum. And I think we would be better served if we went full community understanding of that, to have a quarterly curriculum meeting that's presented at a board meeting or a community engagement session. And then if there's something that flares up, then you might need to pull together some people to review it that are community members. But I think the idea of having 5 people on that committee, and mostly administrators from the district, it really is not reaching what you want to reach. It's not as broad of a reach to the rest of the community. It's just to small groups, small pockets of community members. And like I said, we've had 2 concerns that have been expressed in 2 years. Once everything was shown that, no, there really isn't anything that's being claimed, that's really not occurring in classrooms. And I will say that I believe that the visitations that occur by the curriculum team with their learning walks, and the fact that the central office administrative team, the executive team who are academically based, are in buildings weekly. We visit classrooms. I myself, before the holiday, I sat in, I think I told you, 15 classrooms for an extended period of time to watch what was happening. So I think there are enough eyes out there that we would be able to see if something is not being taught that's supposed to be being taught. The other thing I will also assure you of is that at the work session on the 29th, the board will receive the curriculum guides, the courses of study for this school district, K to 6, that you will be asked to read through and approve before it actually is approved by you at that board meeting. But that will be the first time in 15 years that you've actually approved a course of study. So that will be something that you will have in your hands. The community will see it. Also, it will go online. It won't be the units that you've been seeing online that we have in our curriculum. It's actually the course of study, the objectives that are to be taught, and the critical information that a student should be expected to know, understand, and be able to do. So that will be on the January. I reviewed all those this morning, and those will be on for January. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about that.
Okay, can I do a follow-up? Thank you so much, Dr. Lally. I appreciate your explanation on this. However, I know when we appointed these people, we asked them to serve for 2 years. What are we going to tell them now? We're disbanding the committee. And for me, I still stand on the fact that even if there are not much to do, at least we appointed them for 2 years. I will still insist that they serve for their period that was offered to them. At least we know that the community have a say and have a voice on the curriculum. So for that, I rest my case.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Are you finished? I'm
Yes,
sorry, I
I'm
didn't mean to
done.
interrupt you. Giving it back to the curriculum department doesn't necessarily mean you're disbanding the committee. It's just letting the curriculum department decide how they want to monitor it, and maybe they want to add people to it, because currently it's like only 5 people. And the other thing is that the committee, in my understanding, is not set up, if a parent has a complaint, they don't go to the CCAT committee. There's a procedure in place.
Exactly.
So that wouldn't change. I just think what Julie's talking about is just letting the curriculum department decide how to, and not have it be a board committee, have it be their committee.
Alongside with the community members, or you are disbanding the community members?
That's up to the curriculum department.
And I think with what you're talking about of wanting to do quarterly updates for the board, perhaps if that's the will of the curriculum team, they could have the same people come and participate in that meeting if it's appropriate. Or I think to me, it's empowering our staff to do their work on curriculum while still making sure the entire board is informed and allowing a broader segment of the community to be informed versus just 5 people. Seems like a lot of work and effort is going into educating 5 people, and I think that's great, but it would be greater if we could educate a broader swath of the community by having them present here instead of what's happening in a smaller group, is my thought going in.
If I might, I've watched the committee since it was formed, and I appreciate the work that they've done. I think, given the challenges that the board previously has identified with the curriculum and the challenges that we need to face, it's not lost on me that a lot of the conversations around this particular committee is around issues that we all have kind of agreed that the work has been done. I think continuing to focus a committee on the things that aren't the priorities within the curriculum. I empathize that the curriculum department has a lot of challenges ahead of them to get us back on track with the state report card, to make sure that we incorporate the new guidance from the state that's coming through. And I think the continuation of having a committee designated by us as individual board members actually hamstrings the curriculum department from doing what they need, what we're asking them to focus in on. If they want community input, I trust them to be able to get that input, whether it's from this committee, whether it's from these individuals, whether it's from a broader array. What I want to do is make sure that they're focusing on doing the work that we're challenging them to do, which is focusing in on achievement and progression, not necessarily these issues that we kind of agree this group has already settled. In my work at P&G, there's a lot of groups that we set up, and then when the work's done, it's important to close that down, because then it just causes confusion and swirl for the people who are executing the work. And that's my concern here, is by having this be a board level committee with designated individuals from each board member, it puts unnecessary importance or priority on that when we are directly asking the curriculum department to focus on something else. So I agree. I think there's a lot of processes already in place to identify any community concerns. And I think alleviating the curriculum department from having to artificially prioritize this because we have said it so as a board will free them up to do the results that we want them to do. So I'm in favor of returning the work back to the curriculum department. I expect the curriculum department to make the recommendations. Dr. Lally, I'm very happy to hear that you're looking to bring the curriculum to us so that we can have some ownership in the curriculum and how it's getting implemented, especially given the changes that are coming from the state. I think the environment's very different than it was a year ago when this first started up, because there's a lot that has been mandated and now has to get implemented. And from what I've already seen, the state is a little slow in their approval of certain things. So I think there's going to be a lot of challenges for the curriculum department to implement the new standards, as well as have the curriculums in place to support those in time for next school year. So I would much rather give the curriculum department the room and the space they need to operate, instead of artificially mandating that they have to do certain things that aren't our priority.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Certainly.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Sorry. My understanding of the committee is The curriculum department still runs the curriculum, but they are just advisory to the committee, to the team, correct?
I believe that's the intent, but the issue is there's really nothing right now to be advised upon because we don't have a large number of parent complaints right now. And the other thing is the curriculum by the state of Ohio is set. And it's a matter of taking that curriculum, making sure that course of study is what's being implemented in the classrooms. So at this point, that's why I said if changes are coming from, for example, if the State Department decides that they want to do a new STEAM curriculum, then I believe that's where this type of group comes together, reviews what the state's requesting, that we all start teaching. They look it over, the curriculum team facilitates that conversation, and it could just be one or two conversations. It doesn't need to be an ongoing monthly meeting or quarterly meeting even. It's just whenever the need arises, you use this group as your advisory team. We've got this new curriculum. Let's take a look at it. Let's dissect it, see if it works for Lakota, and let's send our responses back to the State Department because they always ask for input. They're always asking for people to say, what do you think about this? And please review it and provide input. That's what I would suggest that this group be used for, which would be anything that's new and different, which right now, we don't have that yet at this stage of the game.
Sorry. And for me, if that's how we would use that committee as an as-needed basis, I mean, I don't want to waste their time and just look for something for them to do, but I would also love it if that's the case, that we use them as advisory when something new, that it be more than 5 people, that we get a broader impact from more than 5 people. Maybe the curriculum department reaches out and adds people to that committee as needed. Or, if it's a science curriculum, maybe there's somebody out there that's really interested in science and wants to be, look at the curriculum and have some feedback.
And Mrs. Kisper, if I can build on that, I think I've volunteered in the district long enough to realize that there's a lot of groups that we can utilize in that same manner. So we've got the district parent council. I remember the days where, as part of the district parent council, we would review new curriculum, new textbooks that came in to get input and say, how we would get it. And you're getting some of the most involved parents in the district. You also have the PTSO organizations. So as we're looking to roll out new curriculum at whatever level, we can go to those schools and rely on those people. Doesn't mean to exclude these individuals that have been picked,
Right.
but it definitely widens the input that we're getting. And I would argue, as we are dealing with much more varied levels, the reason why these certain individuals were picked by board members may not be applicable when it comes to understanding how we might change gifted curriculum, how we might change science curriculum. There may be better aspects to get better input than just these 5 individuals. And it's nothing against those 5 individuals. It just happens to be the fact that we're looking at so much more from a curriculum standpoint.
In that case, can I add something?
Sure.
I'm trying to make sure I understand, okay? I think I like what Mr. Doug said, Mr. Horton said. Expanding more, like parents' council or whatever, additional to these committee members would be great because we want the community to be part of what is going on in the school district. That way, if there's any issue, they are there to say, nope, I've looked at it, I've seen it, and everything is okay. Because I know we went through, you all know what we went through in the last 2 years. So
Right.
that's my opinion. If we have to add more from parents, like the other organizations that we already have, I don't mind. But like keeping these 5 be additional to what is needed.
Which is fine with me. I just don't think they should meet for the sake of meeting. If there's nothing for them to, I think the waste of their
Exactly.
time.
So am I hearing the will of the board at this point is that we give this back to the administration and the curriculum department to move forward with how this is going to look going forward, and we make sure that we are regularly informed on curriculum?
I'd be aligned to that.
Yeah.
That's not how I understand it. My understanding is we're keeping these 5. If there's any need, those 5 alongside with other organizations within the community will be part of if any issue come up, they will look into it together.
I just have concerns that we're micromanaging the curriculum department.
No, it's not micromanaging. I think for me, what I believe is that they are part of the team.
Well, they can still be part of the team and it not be a board committee.
No, not board committee, that means.
So
that
turning
means-
it back over to the curriculum department with those 5 people to be
Okay.
called upon when needed is,
I like
Sorry.
that. If we keep the 5 and then move.
Well, I want to raise the point that we've got committee members now that are chosen by board members who are no longer on the board. So I think we also need to think through what a process looks like to make sure that the representation aligns with the board if we're doing
Can I
that.
add
Which again, this gets into a whole bunch of micromanagement.
I remember when I did my nomination, I have my form here. What I told my team member was, you're going to serve for 2 years, unless if you wish to leave. If you want to leave, okay, but you're going to serve for 2 years, and that's the form that we all signed.
I mean, with all due respect, I wasn't part of the board then, so I'm not committed to that. And I think also, if the work's done, the worst thing you can do is have a curriculum department focused in on finding work for people because of a commitment that was made. If the work's done, then I think we move on.
as needed.
Yeah, I think, again, what I'm hearing is, well, this may not be exactly what Isaac's preference would be. What I'm hearing, the will of the board is that we give the autonomy to the curriculum department to use this group as needed and/or recreate it as needed so that it can be most effective for us all, and just to keep a broader swath of the community informed on curriculum.
And Madam President, what I'm understanding, so I can make sure I give the appropriate direction, is that would be an advisory group. So if there's something that we need to have some input on as far as curriculum pieces, that they would be called together, have it reviewed by the curriculum team, and maybe others would be there too. Maybe it would also be a presentation that is done with another group, of parents or whatever, for feedback and advisement only,
Yes.
before it's brought to the Board of Education for approval.
And again, for me personally, I think it has the flexibility, the curriculum department has the flexibility of who they choose to use in that capacity. But is that what I'm hearing from others too?
I'm in favor of the flexibility.
Yeah, I think as long as it's not a board committee and we turn it over to them and it use as needed, it's not an ongoing, like quarterly meeting when there isn't anything.
Yeah. Okay. Are you comfortable with that, Dr. Lally?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Community Diversity Council Committee. Thoughts on this?
This is another one that I'm part of this and sat in on that first meeting, and I don't think we know what we want this committee to be. I don't think we have a good understanding of what we want. I just think we need some further discussion on what that committee should be. It was told that it was, to the people that were in attendance, that it was going to be a committee that we talked about, that was going to break down barriers to educating all students. But in reality, when we got to the meeting, many of the committee members were unsure of what that meant. I had a couple of people say, can't break down barriers. I'm in the building because I'm not in the building. That's your job. And so I don't think we know what this committee is. I think we have to figure out what it is that we want this to be.
If the intent of the committee is to break down barriers for students, I think I'd point out that there's no students that are inputting into this committee. And so I think if you're trying to achieve that goal, it makes a lot more sense to, ask the administration, our superintendent, and actually some of our building leads to come up with, how do you get this idea of what are the barriers in student education and what are the best ways to address that? Doesn't mean you can't have community engagement. It doesn't mean that you can't do this. In fact, I think that's something we should do. But again, I feel like this is a little bit of forcing a solution that isn't really aligned with the problem. And from what I'm hearing you say, we haven't really fully identified what those problems are. And so I'd really like to return this to the superintendent and the administrators to come to rethink how we might try to address the intent of this committee. Not to do away with the community input. That's not that. But I just think again, to eliminate the swirl that is going on, if the committee doesn't know exactly what it's supposed to be doing, it's probably a sign that the work isn't really set up to succeed. And I'd much rather re-examine this and have a recommendation from the administration on how to achieve those goals. And if they come back with the same recommendation that the committee is the right thing, I would entertain that. But I would like to see a lot more input from students. You know, I have 2 students in the district, and so I hear firsthand their things. I hear from their friends. I hear from other parents. And a committee that's not tied in directly from the students, I remember one board meeting where, or maybe it was at the district parent council, where some of the board members were sharing inputs they were getting from students, and the students were like, "We want more paper. Everything's on electronic." And it's something that is so fundamental that when you talk to the students, you get some of the barriers that is more encompassing than some of the arbitrary barriers that we want to ascribe to the situation. So that I would be in favor of trying to re-examine the intent and see if there's another recommendation on how we might achieve that.
And I'm not necessarily sure it shouldn't be a board committee. I just don't know if it should be the same format that it is currently in. It's very large. It was very hard to, and again, we had one meeting and there were some people that didn't understand the purpose, and other interpreted their purpose differently. So I just think it needs to be looked at.
Okay. For me, since we all agree that the committee is necessary, however, since there's no direction, the superintendent now will have to like streamline what the goal is and how to achieve the goal. Because I know that there was somebody running that department before, and we agreed that we're not going to replace the person. And it is necessary that we have that department so that the barriers that we think is there in the district will be addressed. So probably we need to go back to the superintendent to streamline and give us the direction and goals.
Go from there.
But I really want this committee to remain as it is.
Agree.
That you want to see it as a board committee?
Oh, that I don't think we do away with the diversity committee on some level.
Okay. So am I hearing both of you would like to see it still as a board committee, or let the superintendent take this work and report back to us? I guess I'll share my opinion. I feel like, again, while this work is critically important, the feedback I got from that meeting as well was that we did not have clearly defined goals. I think it's imperative that we find somebody who is a strong facilitator. And if the true objective of this is how do we remove barriers to education, I do believe that our students are our best resource to get that feedback, to find out what their barriers are. And then again, there's other ways to reach out to a broader community, but I think our students need to be the primary goal. I would perhaps, instead of having this be a board committee, in my opinion, this can be something also that the board would get regular updates on our progress towards diversity goals of removing barriers to education, and having that be the way the board is tied in rather than having it be our committee. Just having it be an update that we receive, knowing that that work is continuing, and hopefully that students are being brought into that discussion so that they can help identify things. Because as we all know, they're the most honest and they're going to give us the most direct feedback and have the most direct input. So that would be my thought on the way to do that. So do you have any feedback, Dr. Lally, on?
No, I would suggest to you that as we think about the structure of the committee, that as Mr. Adi said, we need to think about the position, and if there is that position that Dr. Card held before, did I say the name right? I thought I did. I was going to call him his first name, and I didn't want to do that in public. That person could be the one that manages the student input and actually have a student forums on a regular basis to talk with students, because in all honesty, our students are the ones who will have the solutions.
Right.
We may need to find the funding source, but they'll have the solutions and the ideas.
I mean, as we discuss this, it sounds like, and I think we all agree that the value of this work is important, right? And how do we understand the barriers and break them down? It sounds like it's bigger than a committee. And that's my concern is it almost feels like we're diminishing it by making it a board committee. I think this is something that we need to get regular updates on, I agree, but also understand how we're really implementing this throughout the district. And there's probably even more work on how we make sure we're staffed appropriately for that. So yeah, I think that's my concern is let's make sure we're doing this the right way and getting full encompassing of what that diversity means and how we address that.
Oh, can I?
Sure.
Okay, so I want to understand. Is still going to be a community committee, or is going to the community is going to be disbanded, and they're not going to be like if I understand for curriculum, the community are going to be disbanded, correct?
That would be up to the curriculum department, as I understand it. But yes, for the diversity, I believe that at this point, without clearly defined goals and without, we have work to do before we get to that point. And I think we're better, in my opinion, spending our time speaking with students and doing the work in that regard at this point.
Okay.
And finding a good facilitator to do this work potentially.
Okay, so I want to understand so that I know how to vote. It's going to be the community members will still remain, but will expand to include the students, or it's going to be the community being removed, just like for curriculum?
I believe it should be students.
Yeah, I guess the way I was envisioning it is I would definitely invite those community members to stay involved and help provide feedback, but I don't think it's a formalized committee. I don't think that's really equipping it to do the job that we want it to. So as we identify what these things are, as we engage with the community, I think I invite all of them to stay involved with the district and continue to advise. But it's not an arbitrary where you come, you meet a couple times, and then we check the box that we've broken down student barriers. So that would be how I would frame it, is back to these community members. Thank you. Please stay involved. We have lots to do on this front, but we're going to actually make it bigger and utilize and make sure that it's throughout the district instead of just a committee.
So another clarifying question. Okay, so if I hear Dr. Lally, it's going to be if we're going to disband the community, you're talking about hiring somebody to run that department. Did I hear you say that?
I was suggesting that if we want to look at cultural engagement across the district and have a lot of student input, we would need someone who could manage that and make sure that we have the opportunities to meet with students, talk with students, develop the pieces and parts that we need to have, yes. So that would be a position that we need to look at that we have not filled at this point in time.
Okay.
Well, I
And it may
also
need to
understand
be
that you're
restructured.
reacting in real time to this, right? So I also
Yeah.
want to give you the chance to go back and look and see,
Yeah.
does this fit under,
I would appreciate that.
some of the work that the ombudsman's done, some of the administrators in the buildings, like,
Right.
let's give you a chance to come up with a solution instead of crafting
with-
it in
yeah.
5 minutes.
Work with somebody who specializes in this work potentially. and-
And I think there also needs to be a tiered approach. Students give input, and we work through some of those solutions with students. Then so what? What happens next at the next level? What happens with staff? What happens with community, parents? So I think there needs to be a tiered response to the issue of diversity and equity and inclusion in a district, any place. And whether it's called that or not, it's here, and we need to make sure that we have a tiered vision for how we are treating everyone with respect and dignity. So, I think a tiered approach is necessary, and that's not one-dimensional. It's not just a committee that meets quarterly.
It's also not just one staff position, I would argue.
Yes. It has to be something that's ongoing and becomes ingrained as part of what we do every day. And what we're looking at to make sure that we are doing things for students and for staff members who are diverse, and making sure that everybody feels like they're part of the organization, part of the school. And that's ongoing work. That's not a committee meeting, every now and then. I mean, there might be report outs that happen every now and then to let you know what's happening, but it's ongoing work. It's real work that happens. So.
Do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
I was going to say, if we turn it over to something like that and in a position and something like that, then I think that maybe layered approaches would be a yearly community conversation on where we are that involves the whole committee on what we're doing to breaking down barriers and how we are implementing something like that. And then that's where you get your committee and your community feedback.
And make sure we invite everyone.
To make sure we invite everyone to the table.
Okay. So I want to understand. So in this case, when we disband this, we're going back to the way we did it before. That is getting somebody that runs it.
I think there needs to be a comprehensive approach in this school district. I think we need to take a look at like I said, a tiered approach, and not just have what's been done in the past be done again, because apparently it wasn't enough. Otherwise, we wouldn't need this committee. And I'm not saying anything negative about the work that has been done, because everybody begins someplace. Okay. But I think that there needs to be a tiered, thoughtful approach to how we do cultural engagement in the district. I mean, we're looking at nearly 2,000 immigrant students that come to Lakota now, which is very different than it was 3-5 years ago.
Yeah.
So how do we make sure, we also have a wide range of student needs, and we need to take a look at that. There are lots of layers to making sure that we are accepting as a school system. And I think it needs to be multi-tiered. It needs to be a very thoughtful approach to how we do the work.
Okay. So I'm asking us these questions because the reason why those committees were formed was because there was outcry from the community, and with community members in the committee, they always go back and give feedbacks that maybe other community members were not getting. So if we're going to scrap this, I think it defeats the purpose, because I know there was an outcry regarding the diversity committee, diversity Lodi, it used to be called, and that was why this was necessary.
So I think what I'm hearing is that we'll continue the work in a different format, not just through the committee, and we're in process on how that work exactly will look, but we'll make sure that we're all on top of that and continuing to make it move forward, because we recognize the importance of the work. So if we move on to facilities at this point, I would like to propose that in the past we did quarterly facilities meetings. I feel like with the current issues with where we are out of space for many of our buildings, we need to make sure that this work is fast-tracked, and I'd like to see us pull that work right into a regular board meeting rather than have it be a separate committee meeting, but that would be my proposal, to make sure then we can just put it on the agenda as needed to make sure that it is done, and if we have to extend time, we'll extend time, whatever, so that that work can be sure to have the attention that it needs going forward. Is everyone on the board?
So monthly,
I think
before the board
likely,
meeting or in the board meeting?
I think we could do it either way.
I'm a fan of bringing it into the meeting. One, it elevates it as a priority. It's one of my biggest priorities. I'm sure it is for everybody else. And then two, it just makes it a lot more open to the public because people are tuning into this. It doesn't make it something else that somebody has to tune into. It would be part of the recordings for I think it helps us make the case for the work that's needed there, and it elevates it to its proper position. So I'd like to bring it into the instead of having a meeting and then providing an update in the meeting. Again, I think the urgency, the ability to fast track, it gives us a lot of advantages.
Yeah, I think I support that. Any day that we're going to do that kind of meeting, maybe we start our meeting early so that we have ample time to address it before we do Alongside with the meeting, but we have it before our regular board meeting.
Okay.
Could I throw out an
Of
idea?
course.
Potentially, instead of starting the meetings at 6:30, we could start the meetings at 6,
Yes.
kind of like we did tonight, and then we would put that on the agenda. If there was a meeting that we didn't need that, then potentially we could have a shorter night, knowing that some nights when facilities are in, it may result in a longer night. So we could readjust that from a 6:30 start to a 6 o'clock start, if that would work for everyone.
Great.
We talked about changing, what are we going to do with listening sessions?
Yeah, that was
There
my
was some
concern.
discussion about moving that to 6 o'clock. Because, we're not there yet. Or are we there yet? We're not at that point yet.
That
Okay, why
was a
don't we
little
hold that till we get to the
further in,
meeting?
yeah.
Let's hold on to
So
that.
under 9, we'll talk about that, but we'll hold that as a thought. So regardless, I'm hearing consensus that we are comfortable moving the facilities committee as just being part of our regular board meeting. It's certainly, and with an intent not to decrease the importance of that work, but to accelerate the pace at which that work can be completed. So, all right, finance committee.
I nominate myself.
You nominate yourself, okay.
You got it.
I have, I think, again, some continuity might be helpful, so I will nominate myself as well to serve with Isaac on that committee. So, Adam, I think you may have Isaac and I going forward unless, or I know Doug and Kelly, or do you have a strong burning desire to be on finance instead?
We're good.
It's in capable hands.
Ms. Casper, are you sure?
Hey now.
And I feel, okay, so legislative committee, I feel like this year we kind of moved away from having a legislative committee, and it was just report outs at the different board meetings. I know we have Doug and Kelly as our delegates for OSBA. So again, perhaps if administration has some work that needs to be done, they can be your first reach out in areas of legislation. But anyone who wants to bring anything forward at any board meeting can when it comes to legislative things. I don't think we need a
formal
legislative
committee.
committee. And then negotiations. We will be going into negotiations this year, and we will need board reps on this. I personally would like to wait and have us have discussions on, as an entire board, on what that's going to look like and what negotiations are going to look like before we go through this process and maybe start that. So this seems premature potentially. So I would like to defer on anybody on negotiations committee
Yeah.
if the board is in agreement on
Yeah, I
that.
think we pause that until we know a little bit more about what we're doing, when we're doing it, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Because I was going to ask a question. I don't know what that.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
negotiated.
Yeah.
So we're
and-
crossing that, right?
For now, yes, that would be my thought at this point. And then for safety, again, we've had quarterly meetings with law enforcement and our staff, but I'm wondering if we could bring that into as part of our regular meetings. We have those in executive sessions, just do safety updates with our administration in an executive session during a regular board meeting or at the end of a regular board meeting, if that would be acceptable, rather than having that be a separate committee, because that, again, that work is all board, and avoid having a separate committee meeting for that. Is that?
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah. Okay, so in recap, so what I have is board policy committee would be Doug and Kelly. We would have business advisory committee with Isaac and Julie, community engagement with Doug and Kelly. Facilities are going to happen in the meeting, finance, Isaac and Julie, and then that's it.
Safety would be rolled into the meeting
Safety
as
would
well.
be everyone is part of the broader meeting.
Along with facilities.
Are we going to
Yes.
vote? Are we going to vote them together or just?
It's not a vote as far as our board policy, correct, Adam? We don't vote on this particular item. It's appointment by the board president.
think
I
we
was
vote.
I was thinking that once we had all of these scheduled out, then we would still do a motion second and then vote on it.
Okay,
We have to make a motion, right?
Oh, I didn't think you needed to.
Because I want to separate D and E when we're going to vote on that.
okay. So even though the policy says it's the appointment at the
doesn't-
discretion of the,
You don't need to.
We don't need a vote.
I mean, I didn't check it before I came in tonight. Okay,
It's a appointment by the president.
okay. Yeah, I just didn't check before I came in.
okay. All right, so we'll move forward to 9, establish Board of Education regular meeting dates, time, location, and logistics. So everyone had the proposed meeting dates.
No. Did I miss those?
Adam sent
it was
them out
sent
to
to us,
us.
They're in the packet. Did you get a packet?
It looks like this.
Is it at the table? I didn't get an email with anything on it. I didn't get an email.
It was in the
I think it was just
agenda
attached to the
meeting.
agenda.
In the agenda. It was attached to the agenda.
I think Mr. Vogelman looked like he just ran to go grab them.
Yeah, because I didn't see it. It
Oh, I'm
didn't come
sorry.
through for me, so I.
Really? Oh.
Did we get an email from you, from somebody, from? Isaac?
From Adam, it was in
Yeah.
Adam's update,
was in my
I thought.
update on
Yeah.
Friday.
Oh, yeah, wasn't on mine. That's weird. Like, I don't think I even got an update from you.
That is weird.
That's very weird.
Sorry, I thought everyone,
That's okay. I don't
Thanks,
have any
Rob.
burning European vacations planned or anything, so. My life is so exciting. Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Portman. Yeah, get him back his copy.
You need one.
Do you need one?
I got it.
Okay, no.
so we have the proposed meeting dates. We asked everyone to submit dates where they might have a conflict and then worked through different trainings that would be happening and different people's schedules. So clearly, as needed, we may have to do additional meetings for different special projects, but we thought that this might work well with the financial closes, for example. Our second June meeting is June 27th, which I believe is a Thursday, in order to allow it to be closer to month end for the closing of financials. That's something we traditionally do. So if,
And then at the top, that where it says 6:30, that's been that normal start time. That's where we could adjust that. I can update the minutes if you guys wanted to.
Really having a meeting on April Fool's Day?
Oh,
it's my husband's birthday, he'll be thrilled I'm here instead.
Calendar was very cluttered. I mean, we really had to work through that. But that's where I could update that if the will was to start a bit earlier in order to accommodate some of the committees that have been rolled in.
yeah, I have a question on the February meeting. I thought we had 2 dates tentative, 26th and 21st, because of some reasons. I would have preferred as soon as we can hold that meeting.
I think that the 26th was less congestion with everybody's schedules and travel. We had some travel in there with the conference along with
Yeah,
my personal stuff.
Yeah, I think there's personal, because I think you and some board members, and then
Yeah.
the conference was a big conflict.
26 just took a lot of pressure off of that and it still would work.
Okay.
So,
I believe it's the 26th. I don't have it in front of me.
yeah.
Okay.
It is February 26th. All right, so any other thoughts on the calendar? So if you'll note, we haven't historically had a work session in August, but we thought with the transition of a new superintendent and the start of the school year that thought it might be helpful if we could have some time to meet together as a board and an administrative team and get feedback from different executive team members on where we are, so we're all on the same page at the start of the school year. So that was the thought behind doing a work session in August that we have not done for a couple years. We used to always do a work session in January, and we do have one here at the end of January as well, but that was in the evening. So that's what we're thinking with this.
Yeah, if you don't see the time notated, then it's that regular start time that appears at the top.
So this is more of a work session, like opposed to a board retreat, which is it the
6 to
same
1.
thing?
Yeah,
Is it-
I
are we-
think.
Any board, do we have any plans to do any board PD, any board development with new board members coming on
Oh, right now?
in this year? I didn't know if that's what this was, or if this is strictly a work session to get to talk to the team leads about the beginning of the year and things like that.
I think it would be all of the above. It would be to have board development work as well during that time. But again, that can change. And we can add board work before then as well.
I thought the work session is January 29th.
Yes,
Are we
so we
gonna-
have
are we
both.
not-
So August and January, but Dr. Lally already talked about some things she wanted to look at on the 29th. Now I'm going to forget what you said already tonight.
Curriculum.
Curriculum.
Yeah, the curriculum will be there, so you can take a look at that.
Okay. And then also getting set up for our search process and negotiations. Maybe we can do some of that work that night as well. So there's lots of topics to keep us busy. So is everyone agreeable? Do we want to move? How do we want to handle the listening session and the start time? I know some people, it would be a work conflict if we moved it prior to 5:30. It seems like we've had fewer people coming to speak to the board, but I'm sure there will be hot topics that come up where that heats up again. But do we want to try for now to do the 5:30 listening session and then a 6 o'clock start? And if we end up having a bunch of people sign up, we can look at either starting the meeting, recessing to finish the listening session, or doing the listening session at the end of the meeting?
We
or-
could start the meeting, we could recess, we could also look into amending the agenda to front load a public comment just for the people that hadn't had the opportunity to speak if we did come into that issue. I mean, there's several different ways we could look at it if the policy is now flexible
Okay.
for our options then.
And I know, yeah, with bringing things into the meeting, it's going to be tight, but I know that there was some conversation last year that it's hard for people to get here at 5:30 that work. So there was some discussion last year, I thought, about moving the listening session a little later, even if it was 5:45 to 6:15. But if we're going to start the meeting at 6 o'clock, that wouldn't be.
Well, we could start at
Possible.
6:15, give us 15 minutes extra. I mean,
Again, people have not, as we have seen, people have not been coming, so maybe they don't want to talk to us. So,
Well, I also remember a couple meetings where people were signed up and then came in late and missed. And I think the 5:30 is a challenge to people getting here on time.
Yeah, so it's a double-edged sword. 5:30 is a challenge for people, but then it pushes us back if we're going to be doing so much committee meetings within our regular meetings. Our meetings are going to be long. So we could, I don't know, what do you think?
My observation is, you can see, if people sign up and keep coming late, then we can see that that's a challenge. We're not even seeing people sign up for anything. So for now, keep it the way it is. If we see a lot of people sign up, then we know that there's going to be need for us to change the timing. Then we can consider it at that time.
During the past year, we got a legal opinion looked into maybe making the board meeting start 15 minutes after a listening session. And the big thing we have to focus
Can't
on
do
is
that.
always having that static start time
Yeah.
of the board meeting. The listening session has more flexibility, but that board meeting for the community needs to be an advertised start
When
time.
we say it can't be like 15, yeah.
Okay.
so are we comfortable then for now, keeping it at 5:30? If we get a lot of feedback that really has become cumbersome for people, then we can look at moving it back. But for now, we'll do 5:30 with a 6 o'clock start time for our meetings.
Great, that works.
Kelly?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
All right.
So we'll need to change that in the minutes, Adam,
Will do.
to 6 o'clock.
Yep.
So the listening session would be basically 5:30 to 5:55 in order to get 5 minutes to get in here and so that we start on time, correct?
Yeah, I'll update that in the attachment as well as it'll be reflected in the notice once we get the committee stuff together, and
Right.
I'm sending that notice out.
Let's look at that. I think the policy states we'll choose 10 people with up to 3 minutes. So we may have to do it 6:05 or something like that, or accommodate that.
It'll
Or move it
extend,
forward.
it'll extend up to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
If we had more than 10 people, then it went down to a 2-minute per,
Okay.
to allow for as many people as possible. So potentially what we could do is then in agenda setting, or we might have to amend the agenda, put a recess in, go back, so we'll figure it out.
Okay. All right, so do I have a motion to approve the proposed board meeting dates with the amendment of the starting time to be 6 o'clock.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Adam, please call the roll.
Mr. D.
Yes.
Mr. Horton.
Yes.
Ms. Casper.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the establishment of a board service fund at $20,000 as authorized by ORC 3315.15, which provides for the setting aside of the general fund a sum not to exceed $2 per student or $20,000, whichever is greater, to be used only in paying expenses of Board of Education members and the performance of their duties effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Adam, please call the roll.
Mr. Horton.
Yes.
Ms. Casper.
Yes.
Mr. D.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. Number 11, do I have a motion to authorize members of the board to attend workshops, seminars, and meetings for professional development held by organizations the board holds memberships with, and to benefit the governance, academic, or financial status of the district? Professional development held by other organizations shall require approval by the board to attend.
So
So-
moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Adam, please call the roll.
Ms. Casper.
Yes.
Mr. D.
Yes.
Mr. Horton.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. Do I have a motion to authorize the superintendent on behalf of this board to accept resignations which have been submitted by employees during times when the board is not in session, subject to a follow-up ratification by this board, provided, however, that upon ratification by this board, such resignation shall be deemed effective as of the date and time of the superintendent's acceptance?
So moved.
Seconded?
Any discussion? Hearing none, Adam, please call the roll.
Mr. D.
Yes.
Mr. Horton.
Yes.
Ms. Casper.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. Do I have a motion to authorize the superintendent during periods when the board is not in session to make offers of employment directly to candidates for either teaching or non-teaching positions on behalf of this board, and to acknowledge acceptance of such offers on behalf of this board, subject to a subsequent vote of ratification by this board, provided, however, that upon ratification by this board, the employment shall be deemed effective as of this date and time of the employee's acceptance of the superintendent's offer?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Adam, please call the roll.
Ms. Casper.
Yes.
Mr. D.
Yes.
Mr. Horton.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. So I'd like to adopt the following resolution to secure tax advances from Butler County, whereas Ohio's Revised Code, Section 321.34, provides that the Board of Education of an Ohio Public School District may request from the appropriate county auditor advance payments of tax funds assessed and collected for and on behalf of such school district. And whereas the aforesaid statute requires that such request be made by a formal resolution, and that such advance payment of tax funds be paid to the treasurer of the school district. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Lakota Local School District that Section 1, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 321.34, the Board of Education of the Lakota Local School District hereby requests that the Butler County Auditor advance to the Treasurer of the Lakota Local School District taxes assessed in 2023 for and on behalf of the Lakota Local School District and collected in 2024. Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We'll do Isaac.
Okay.
Any discussion?
Oh, yes. No, I'm kidding.
That does not go to me personally, is it?
Can you reread that, please?
Adam, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Horton.
Yes.
Mr. D.
Yes.
Ms. Casper.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. Do I have a motion to authorize the treasurer to pay bills as per appropriations and to invest funds when possible?
So moved.
Second?
A second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Casper.
Yes.
Mr. Horton.
Yes.
Mr. D.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. Do I have a motion to adopt the tax budget as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Adam, thank you for completing that meeting today at 3:30 as required by statute.
Yep.
Please call the roll.
Mr. D.
Yes.
Mr. Horton.
Yes.
Ms. Casper.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution of attendance at community events?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Hold on.
Hearing-
Also attendance of community event.
Pardon? So that's like if we go to a chamber event, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Gotcha.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, the resolutions, it is attached in the motion that has the list of community partners.
Community
and whatnot.
organizations, I see them.
Hearing none, Adam, please call the roll.
Yeah. Mr. Horton?
Yes.
Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Mr. D?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve Frost, Brown and Todd LLC, Ennis Britton Company, LPA, Bricker, Graydon LLP, and Pepple and Wagner LTD for legal counsel representation on an as-needed basis?
I would like to add that we did get rate sheets for all 4 firms. We did have 5 firms. 2 have combined, so now that's why we're at 4, and we included rate sheets in the motion item this year.
Perfect question.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
Somebody has to.
Discussion?
Yes, we have 4. So the question I have is, for continuity, are we still going to have Frost, Brown, and Todd as the main legal team, attorney?
The way we have done it in the past is we go to different firms for different needs, so I think it will depend upon the particular need as to who we've worked with. I know it's switched where one has been primary. I know other times others have been primary, so that is not, the requirement is that we approve the different legal firms so that we
In
have
order to
that
use them.
flexibility to work with the different firms as needed.
As needed, okay. All right.
So this gives us the flexibility to choose one of those 4 depending on the issue that we need
Correct.
help with. Okay.
So how is that chosen?
In the past, it was, I know we had worked with one. When Linda became president, we started working with a different one. It seemed so there is not policy under that, so that was at the discretion, and my understanding of the board is how it, or of the board president is how it worked at that time. And then again, the administration also works with these different firms as needed because different firms have expertise in different areas.
Yeah, a lot of times it's viewed as going to the one that can most efficiently get us where we need to be.
Okay.
Sure.
So in essence, it's the president that nominates who takes whatever case? Or who does?
Or the administration can make that decision as well. Like it's who people call. It's just, this is the flexibility of who they can call.
Yeah, this gives you the flexibility to call who you think for the legal opinion versus us authorizing each decision as it goes through, correct? Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right.
Okay.
So any further discussion? Adam, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Mr. Horton?
Yes.
Mr. D?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes. So we will now have, we have on the, well,
15-minute recess.
a 15-minute recess, yes. I guess we could have amended the agenda, but since we have it on there, we have to do 15 minutes, correct?
Do we have a motion to amend?
Do we want a motion to amend the recess so it's 5 minutes instead of 15, or does everyone want 15?
I would like to make a motion to amend to be 5 minutes rather than 15 minutes in
Second.
honor of the national championship game tonight.
Second.
And in honor of that, I would like to not because.
1,500 days.
Any further discussion?
5 minutes.
Adam, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Horton?
Yes.
Mr. D?
Yes.
Ms. Casper?
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer?
Yes.
5
All right.
minutes.
5
We will be back in 5 minutes.
I want my
At
computer back though. 'cause this one is-
7:17.
Yeah, I logged you out, sorry.
I got it.
Yeah, I don't like this computer because it doesn't have the agenda on it.
Oh,
Sorry, that was me.
Oh, you want to? No.
I want
that's-
mine back.
Yes.
This is Julie's.
Yeah, here's yours.
Give me mine. Here, I'll-
Is that Julie's?
I logged out because.
Yeah, I couldn't, this is, yeah.
So then I have Julie's, so she has Isaac's.
She has Isaac's.
Okay.
We have to give her back.
Isaac was sitting here?
Yeah,
Yes.
Isaac's
So-
sitting there now.
All right, I'll move that over, and then I'll log back in. That was my bad. As soon as I did it, I was like, oh,
No, that's
I
fine.
changed
I
the
couldn't get, because it's already on there, I couldn't get it to come up.
yeah. You guys already get all swapped around? We did.
We
I
got
just
our
need to log
computers.
back
We'll
in.
change
Thank
the
you.
microphones another day.
Yep.
I need one more freaking book. Yes, pack your bags.
It slipped out.
I
I'll try to be fast because I've got a whole list.
because you have
A whole list for executive session, so I'll try to be fast.
no, yeah. That's fine. I knew what I was getting into, so no, don't worry. I won't be angry. It comes with the territory.
Who's it tonight?
So it's Michigan versus Washington.
Oh, yeah, oh, that's right.
And then I went to grad school at Michigan, and then my nephew was the kicker for Michigan up until last year.
for the San Francisco 49ers.
Cool.
Yeah, so we
Can
know.
you get-
So I know a lot of the kids.
Can your nephew get my son a job with 49ers?
We'll see what we can do. Although the way he kicked yesterday, he's
No.
not doing well. So he's sick. He was sick this week, and he missed a field goal on the point after. So right now he's not
going
too
well.
happy with the fans are not too happy with him. So
He'll get over it. When you were at Michigan, was Marty Bobner still the athletic director or one of the athletic directors?
no, he had just left. They brought in I can't remember his name, but he's the guy who renovated all of the stadium and put in all the suites and modernized it and that sort of
The
thing.
new guy or Marty?
The new guy, yeah. Marty had just left and he had done a good job.
Well, Marty graduated from Barberton High School.
Oh,
He and his twin. And they played on the 1976 Barberton Magic's basketball team against the Middletown Middies and beat them at the state. So, of course, me being from Middletown and going to Barberton, and it was all white and purple. And I remember my dad took my sister and I to the game, and the whole stadium, not stadium, but the whole arena. And that was at the old Ohio State Arena, whatever that was called at the time.
yeah.
I can't remember. It was all purple, and you couldn't tell who was where or anything else. I mean, and we were young, but I mean, it was phenomenal. And at Barberton's gym, they had a big Dectronic screen in the middle of the gymnasium, chairbacks on the regular people's side, home side, and a picture of Middletown, of the team that beat the Middletown Middies, and they would sing it. Yeah, that's what we did. Yeah, it's a big joke.
That's awesome.
Okay, did somebody, I was like, my mic's in a
So
different spot.
I gave you back your computer.
Okay.
I swapped your computer back from Julie to you.
Oh.
So you should be good. I'm just missing a mouse.
Yeah. Oh, you're missing the
think you have
mouse?
2 mouse.
Oh, I don't even need it. Oh, yeah. I don't even need it. I have my agenda. I don't use this so much.
Yeah. So I caused all the problems. It was all me.
No, it's okay. I don't even use it. It's just there for.
Is that what's in there?
Hijacked.
All right, are
Insanity.
we all back? Are we ready to get started, team?
Ready.
All right, if we could ask everyone to take their seats so we could get started again. We'd like to return to our regular meeting. We have, do I need to pull us out of recess? Is that- Okay.
Fine.
And then 20, return to our regular board meeting, board president's comments. I would just like to say I'm grateful to the community and my fellow board members for entrusting me to continue the important work to make sure we have a quality education for all of our students. We have a lot of work to do over this year, and I look forward to staying focused on that work for our kids. We need to accelerate the work that's already happening on our report card to make sure that we're supporting our staff and administration and all the work that they are doing. We have our master's facilities plan, we have our superintendent search, and we have negotiations. And I'm sure there'll be many things that pop up that we don't even anticipate. So I look forward to another busy year of accomplishing great things. And I'd like to just thank my fellow board members for entrusting me to help lead us in these endeavors. And with that, superintendent's comments.
Thank you, and congratulations to both of you on your terms here. I'd like to let everyone know that this is January's Board Appreciation Month, and we would like to, as an administrative team and as your executive team, we would like to say thank you for the work that you do, the time you commit. Doug, for the time you spent today. No, I'm kidding.
1 hour, I'm done, I'm
For
good.
the time that you will spend, seriously, this year, each of you contribute a great deal to the work that happens in a school district. And there's a token of appreciation on your chair from the district for you to thank you and to commend you for the service that you provide, because we know that it's not going to make you a millionaire to be a board member. So we thank you for the time, effort, and energy that you put into this work that we do every single day. So thank you for that. Second thing is, we're beginning second semester and we're going strong. So we will have some updates as we go through the rest of this school year on how things are progressing. Our MAP scores for December have been analyzed, and we are showing improvement in our K through 6 and 7th and 8th in several areas in our growth areas, which is what we were concerned about. And I'll have a full report for you at the work session on that as well to share with you and to let you see some of that work and still see where some problem areas are that we'll continue to work on. But we did see some improvement from last year in those areas, and we're making a difference in each of our classrooms. So I want to thank the staff for the hard work that they've done so far to make sure that we're progressing and moving forward and recognizing those individual needs of students as well. So that concludes my comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Zink?
I would also like to congratulate Ms. Schaefer and Mr. Horton on their luck at the polls this year. I also found it very impressive the turnout we had. That's kind of a testament, I think, to the direction that society in itself's going. So that was really neat. Bigger numbers than usual. We also did receive news within the last couple of weeks that we will be receiving our 10th consecutive clean audit. So that is a very big deal. A lot of work goes into that. Thanks, Mr. Oskally, who's in the back of the room, for all of the work that he puts into that and keeping the train on the tracks daily. So shout out to Darian. And that's all I have at this time.
Great. Thank you. We'll move into board action items 21A and B. We have second read of board policies and a motion to request support from the OSBA Legal Assistance Fund. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Zink, perhaps you could share with the OSBA Legal Assistance Fund?
Yeah, what that is they've taken interest in one of the suits that we have, and if we pass the resolution, then we'll fill out an application and submit that for them to give financial support on a case that they view to have importance at the state level as a whole.
Oh, wow.
So,
Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, will you please call the roll?
Mr. D,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. We have Treasurer's Recommendation A, approval of board minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. D,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. We have superintendent's recommendations, A through C, personnel, field trips, and donations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Zink, will you please call the roll?
Mr. D,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. And I'm moving to closing comments, and we will start with Mr. Horton.
Thank you. So really excited to join the board and dig in on the work. I want to make it clear I'm very focused in, and I think everyone's been saying the same thing tonight. Really want to be focused in on, obviously we have the contract negotiation with the staff. That's very important to me. The work being done on curriculum, we've had a lot of robust discussions on how to best achieve that, which I'm excited and really excited to see the work or the stuff that you're going to be bringing during the work session, Dr. Lawley. So thank you for that. The other thing is student facilities. Really excited that we're bringing that into the work of the board and the meetings there. And then obviously the search for the superintendent. So really laser focused in on how we can quick start that process, not to be behind as we've been in the past, and really get the cream of the crop of our choosing for a district as a destination district should. So excited for all of that. Really excited that the school year's starting out, even with last Friday where I had to look across the court and see some of my fellow board members on there. But congratulations to West on their victory against East in boys basketball. And I wanted to shout out to Josh Tyler to have a career night, 5 for 5 from the 3-point line, 21 points. It was astounding, and even as a Thunderhawk, I can say that. So congratulations to Josh on that, and he's only a freshman, so really excited to see him continue to develop and where West is going there. And then Adam, you already mentioned the 10th consecutive year of a clean audit. That is really impressive work, and the fact that there was no real comments at all about it just shows what a clean program the district is running there. So that's a testament to you and the staff there. So really proud of that work and glad that to see that. So. With that, that's all I have.
All right, Mr. Adi.
All right, thank you. First of all, congratulations to both of you. I've worked with you before, so welcome, Mr. Houghton, and I look forward to doing business for the advancement of our students and the community. I know today's meeting, I asked a lot of questions because I know when I was coming on the board, there was a lot of complaints, a lot of misunderstanding of the way the school district was being run. And as I came in, I believe that it's good that we're authentic, we do what is legit, and make sure we follow the guidelines from the state and the policies that we have. And some of the areas that I know helped us calm some of those tension was those committees that we formed. And those 3 committees really helped the district, and I could see that people understood now that at least there's a voice from the community in everything that happens in the school district. And that was why I asked all those questions. I wasn't trying to make it difficult, but I want to make sure that it is understood why those committees were formed. Because there was a lot of misinformation and a lot of misinformation and wrong information that were sent out. So with those community members in the committees, they participated and they went back and gave some of and helped the community understand what is happening in the district. So, and that's why I thought that we should continue with those committees. And I would still want to plead with my fellow board members, if we can continue to engage those committee members at least for the next period, the period we allow them, nominated them to do, I will really appreciate that, because that will really help me continue to do what I want to do, as I want to give back to the community. I want to thank Dr. Lally. Good message from you that we are seeing some improvement in our results. That's what we want to hear. And thank you so much, and your team, for what you do. Mr. Zink, thanks. 10 years, I know you came in for the last 2 years and you've done it again. So congratulations. Thank you so much. And I look forward to to good things that we're going to do for this district, for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Lally?
I don't have any closing comments at this point, but thank you.
Mr.
I'm going to save mine till the next meeting.
Like for another day? Like, the suspense is building. Okay.
I don't know if we'll be able to
Mrs.
wait.
Casper?
We got going so fast, I hate to kill the momentum.
I know, right? Just again, congratulations to Julie and Doug. And Doug, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. Adam, congratulations on your clean audit.
Thank you.
We're very, very proud. Very proud. I'm excited to look forward to working with this board and getting, like everyone has said, all of the things done that we need to do, which is a little daunting sometimes, but we know we want to do what's best for the kids and for the community. And so I'm very excited about that. I would like to point out, Doug, that part of my time was spent on the east side. And if you need lessons on how to become from a Thunderhawk to all Lakota, I can help you. It takes a
appreciate
while.
all the help.
It takes a while not
I
to,
can understand
like,
that.
be biased, but I can help you with that. But no, so I am very looking forward to this year.
Is that it?
That's it.
Again, congratulations to Mr. Zink on the clean audit. I don't think we sometimes fully appreciate how unusual that is. And I know I've asked for statistics before on how many people have gotten 10 clean audits in a row, and I don't even think they keep them, but it's
They
quite
don't, no.
rare.
Yeah, we tried to get that information,
yeah.
and they said that they don't keep track of that, but he could probably go back through all of them if we needed him.
Did you tell him we do need him to?
So that Adam could have bragging rights for
Yeah.
that we have the longest record. So, but congratulations, that work does not go unnoticed. Thank you also for all the work that was done this first semester and the focus on curriculum and making sure that all of our students are getting the resources that they need. Look forward to continuing that work throughout the year and the progress that we continue to make. And again, I think all of us, our objective is to continue to engage as many people as possible and work with our community in many ways. So I don't want anyone to feel that we want less input. I think we want broader and more input and make sure that we're getting all the voices at the table so that we can hear what people want to say. And with that, I will take a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose to consider the appointment, employment dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official as per Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1A.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Go ahead. Give it to the new guy.
Mr. Horton. Any discussion? All right. Mr. Zink, please call the roll.
Mr. D.
Yes.
Mr. Horton.
Yes.
Ms. Casper.
Yes.
Ms. Schaefer.
Yes. And will you all go home and watch the game? We will be working in executive session, but we will not be taking action when we come out of executive session.